Hey everybody, now that we're toward the end of the growing season, I thought I'd take a chance to evaluate my container plantings and kind of figure out what I liked that I did this year and what I didn't like, and then make some plans for next year. So this is my back door, and I have a large planting here of terracotta pots, and I always try to keep all of the pots terracotta. I don't have a particular size or style that I go with, but I just try to unify the planting with terracotta. And you know, when I started, I had a couple, and now who knows, maybe 15? I don't know for sure. You know how it is. The new thing that I tried this year is, instead of doing mixed plantings, which I love a good mixed planting, but I thought I'd try something different this year and really try to put just mostly one thing in each pot. So I might have, for example, in this pot over here, I have all cannas. And instead of making it sort of the star of the planting and then putting fillers, spillers, and thrillers in the pot, it's just all one thing. And the same with all of these pots. You know, I have one elephant ear here, one salvia back here. There's a couple of mixed ones in here, but mostly it's just the singles. And that way I can mix and match the plants throughout the season. And if something isn't doing as well as I'd like it to, I just get rid of it and put something else there in its spot. Where in a mixed planting, it's a little bit harder to do that. I really like that, and I think I'll continue to do that next year. Something else I tried new this year was something with strawberry pots. And I've always loved strawberry pots, but I'm kind of a frugal gardener. And for the last several years, I kept thinking, okay, I'm going to start seeds in all the little pockets on the sides of the strawberry jars. And that just never worked out. They always just washed out, and I just couldn't get them established. So this year, following that same kind of frugal tendency, I dug some hen and chicks out of my garden and tucked them into half of the pockets in the strawberry jars. And in the other ones, I put some portulacas, or moss rose, as they're also known. And I bought them in 6-packs, at the garden center, started from seed, and they were really, really inexpensive. And so I tucked those in. And they have done really well. Both the hen and chicks have really established, and the moss rose has just bloomed and bloomed all summer. They, it's a lot of color, and it just adds some nice. It's kind of a nice contrast in all of these strawberry jars. Another new thing that I tried this year was this big flat pot. I've had this for a few years and never known quite what to do with it. I thought it would look good with a succulent planting in it, but I decided to just, I really love this orange colored portulaca, another portulaca, and so I thought I'd try that. But early in the year, the chipmunks kept digging and digging, and every day I was coming out here and having to replant the portulaca. I was afraid it would never get established. So I, following a tip from a Garden Gate reader tip several years ago, I went to the garage and dug out some stones, and just in different colors, and just kind of flatter stones, and laid them around the soil in a over the bare soil in the pot, to kind of keep the chipmunks from finding a good spot to really dig, but definitely leaving enough room for water to permeate and get in and add moisture to the soil too. And that made all the difference. So I think I'll be doing that again next year too. There are a few plants that I would just never be without here in my back door planting, and one of them is a salvia. I mean, I try different salvias every year just because, they're so pretty, it's hard to choose. This one happens to be a rockin' fuchsia. But the reason I love salvias so much at my back door is the hummingbirds. They love salvias. And right here, I told you that it's right by my kitchen door. And so I love being able to look out while I'm doing something in the kitchen and see the hummingbirds right there. This year, I actually have it kind of tucked back in here. And so I'm not seeing it as well from inside as I usually do. So I think next year I might move the salvia up to the spot on the step so I can see it a little bit better. But this is a great plant. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and better all summer. And by fall, they're huge, and they look great until frost or even after. And I told you that I am pretty frugal gardener, and so tender bulbs are great for that reason, because I plant them and then I can dig them up every year and save them indoors. And so I always have cannas at my back door. I always have. And the last few years, I have been growing a lot of elephant ears, and I keep adding some every year, and I just love them. I mean, look at the dramatic leaves and the marbling and the way the light shines through them in the morning. Ugh, so gorgeous. So this one is Jack's Giant, and I've had this for several years now, and I've grown it in different spots in my yard, but I think I like this spot, and I think I'll just keep it in this big pot every year from now on. And it looks great here in the sun, and it also does well in the shade too. I have another one, a new one that I tried this year. It's Royal Hawaiian Waikiki, and it really goes, I love it because it goes with this, my color theme here, which is mostly, I try to keep it to purples and oranges mostly. And I mean, look at these purple stems and this purple markings on the leaf. It's just, oh, it's so dramatic. And I think I might have it in a little too much sun here though. So I think I'm going to try that one in the shady spot in the front, by the front door next year, to see if it gets a little bit, I think the leaves, you know, some of the leaves struggled a little bit here in the sun. So I think I might have better luck next year in the front, but I'm going to keep on growing elephant ears back here. And I told you about my cannas. I mean, look at the different striations and the different colors here. I don't even care if they bloom, although I like it when they do. And so there's several different cannas mixed in here. I have some calla lilies that have black purple flowers that I grow every year, have saved those for years and years, and really they're so easy. And finally, this year I'm growing more dahlias than I usually do in my containers. And these are, I don't always have great luck saving them from year to year, but they seem to do better in containers for me than they do in the ground because I can give them more reliable moisture. I think it's just really hard because we have pretty dry summers here, and it's just hard to keep them watered enough with the hose. So I think I'll just keep growing them in pots here by the back door. And this year I staked them with these kind of, I mean, they're inconspicuous, but they're pretty ugly. And I just dug in the garage and found any old stake I could find. But next year, I think I'll get some nicer ones and paint them or do something a little more decorative. So that's a thing I would do differently next year. So as you can see, a lot of the interest in this planting comes from foliage, whether it's the textures of the foliage or the colors of the foliage. I feel like it could use maybe just a few more flowers, and I think next year I might add a pot of tall cutting zinnias, or maybe a couple of short pots of zinnias in here, because those are plants that will just keep blooming all through the year, and they're bigger flowers that would have a little bit more presence, and I can find them in oranges and colors that really complement my color scheme well. So in addition to maybe adding some zinnias into this planting, I would like to, as far as changes next year, I'd like to move that salvia up by the back door so I can see more hummingbirds, because they're not shy. They don't mind being in the window. And then I would like to improve my staking situation and make it just a little bit more attractive. As far as what I would do again, definitely keep all the terracotta pots and maybe not add too many more because we're starting to run out of room on the patio. And I plan to continue the strategy of keeping mostly one type of plant in each pot. So stay tuned and I'll keep you posted on how it goes next year.